coming to you on our channel Dreamy Dreamland with Sensual Bob. And as always, our little travels of the Akashic Record are here for your entertainment. But I was speaking earlier today about things to come and what we have to look forward to. And to understand that, we have to look back. We have to turn around. If you noticed this morning's show, I was turning around, constantly kind of turning around. And that's one of my major themes. You see me doing it often when I'm in a chair that wee, right? Turn around. And that's kind of what we have to do in our life. We have to turn around. We have to set ourselves in a place where we can turn around. And the most important thing we can do to turn around is to say, we're sorry. Now, when I was my second wife, who was, right of the Attila the Hun, she scared everyone, right? She basically hated everyone. She was born into opulence of a princess in Italy, in Rome. Her father was the Albert Einstein of diamond cutters. Harry Winston brought him to New York to cut the Hope diamond, which was had a curse on it. And his ego was the size of Texas. And so he cut to him, almost 17. Both her parents died, leaving her penniless. All she had was her Catholic school uniform, right? And she basically had to be homeless, right? And she kind of lived with her sick grandmother in a real, like cardboard box of an apartment that smelled terrible, etc. Well, within the space of 3 years, she had started her own business empire and became an amazingness. And, but she loved me. Why? Because she said that I never made myself have to say I was sorry, because I was always thinking of her first, always aware of what she needed, never did anything to get her ire. And, except for my basic stupidity, in imbecility, and, basically who I am. I say this often. A number of my clients have always said to me that they loved me, thought I was great, but I was, a taste that was, took some getting used to. I was an acquired taste. And she, early on acquired the taste for me. That was the fact that I grew up in an environment of choices, consequences, and responsibilities. I grew up in a neighborhood where it was not a, America is a melting pot. No, we were a salad bowl. We were a total, every 2 blocks was a different nationality. And, people, well, why don't the Spanish come here? Don't learn English, they didn't learn English, Man, if people just opened their eyes and saw Hispanic folk for who they are, the most respectful, righteous people on this earth. You go into a Walmart's, trailer trash white kids are stealing things, smashing, saying no to their parents, kicking their mother in the knee. Hispanic kids are dressed neatly and walk behind their parents and don't make a bunch of noise, And I see this over and over again. Now, I've seen that with every race that comes into our country, and they are the new ones, the last off the boat, and people treat them like crap, and they try to fit in. But they live in neighborhoods because, within numbers, there's safety. So there's Little Italy, Chinatown, little Saigon, little Germany, Poland, along Second Avenue. Why did they put the UN on Second Avenue? Because along Second Avenue, every 3 blocks was a different nationality. And they were all striving for the American dream. They were all striving to represent. So in our neighborhood, we didn't have police. The rich people had police. And here's a little tidbit of historical knowledge for you that in the United States, we have not had police forces until the latter part of the 19th century. Rich people had bodyguards, people who took care, like the, you know, um, oh, what was the name of those guys? Not Pinter, no. There was a police force that the railroads have. Started with a P. It'll pop into my mind. Anyway, and there were other bankers. J.P. Morgan had his own army. But no, there was no one to protect the public. There was no public police until the latter part of the 19th century, once we started to become an industrial society. Tonight, well, I'm doing pretty good. I'm back at the school. I'm starting off the story, and tonight's little passion play is about, yes, Gangs of New York. Thank you very much. That was probably one of my favorite films of history because it really showed how, the Irish are coming off the boat like a waterfall, and there's Daniel Day-Lewis, just the first generation Irish in New York, and he's calling the Irish coming over, oh, we should kill them. They're terrible people. That's his uncle, Uncle Mick. No, it's like, really? And the movie starts off with the last group, the Dutch, right? And the last guy with the big hammer, right? And why does that exist? And then you see the really rich people who come into the Five Corners. I used to live in the Five Corners. That's downtown. That's Alphabet City. That's what it's called now. I don't know if they still call it that. But the rich get off and they go off of their fancy carriages onto a wooded, sidewalk and go up some steps and then walk above all of the poor people looking down at the poverty. And they're all going, oh, this is terrible. Someone should do something about it. And as they walked up that thing, there was a garland over that they went under, and it said, the liberal way. That's what liberals are. People who feel guilty about being racists, about being elitist. Are they going to give up their money? No, right? And they're that same guy who, oh, someone should do something. He throws a nickel in the can, and the next scene you see him raping the scullery maid, and she's letting him do it because she's stealing the stuff off his wife's vanity as he's got her bent over it, And that's how human beings treat each other. But you kind of read the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence or the Magna Carta or a number of other great documents, and humans have it in them to try and do better, right? And so what is that thing that wants us to try and do better? That thing to be honest, right? To not cheat, not steal, not lie. Now, in my neighborhood, we didn't do that because everybody knew. It's like we were all psychic. We all knew each other pretty well. We didn't have any police because we weren't rich. We didn't have police. Who ruled? Grandmas ruled. And why did grandmas rule? Because grandmas are always the most responsible, empathetic, and honest people in the room. They're the ones who's looking out for the innocent ones, right? So, why are we here? What is this life about? Is it about, raping and pillaging and stealing and lying and cheating? I mean, I'm a terrible liar. I can never lie, Stealing, I'm too lazy to steal, And cheating, I don't care. You know, people would cheat on tests, and I said, "Screw it. Why do I?" You know, I did not get all upset. And there you see these on the news, all the rich folk, all the liberal rich folk who whine about this, that, or the other thing. They're doing everything they can so their little dummy of a child can go to Harvard, and maybe push that one black kid who the only way he's going to get in there is to be an athlete. So they Photoshop little moron boys, you know, face on the winning team. So we have to turn around. We don't have that much time. We have 18 months or so, right? We have to. I keep speaking of. We have to define an alternative aesthetic, a new way, right? Yep, only sheriffs have, and those guys are allegedly voted in. But if you go to the old stories of Robin Hood, and sheriff wasn't the nicest guy. Exactly. Let's just do the new way. In every way and every day, take the piece of the earth and make it stronger through love's co-creation. We live by example. The one thing I try and do for you as a griot is to live by example. To show the way, live the way, right? And it's, hey, I'm a human being. I'm venal, I'm lazy, I'm stupid, all of those things. But I had people in front of me who showed me the way. And I try to do the same. It's because when they left my side, they said, it is now your responsibility to lead the way. Right? Someone, a number of shows about, you're the chosen one. No, sorry. At best, I am your sensei, Owl Bob. I'm here to be a good example, right? I'm here to serve you, right, as a griot, to tell you a story that can give you an understanding, right? So my second wife, right? We lived happily until, as if you read the story in xratted.blogspot.com, you will see. Pretty much, go guys, go read. It's only about 200 and something pages. There's six, cuts of my first novel. I got 26 novels, and I'm writing another six. One's called Turkey Neck, Ear Hair, and I pretty much, like a job, go down to the library and work my novels because they have pretty good computers there. I stick in a thumb drive, I type away, and the library's full of, not only that, the computers are right next to each other, so I can have two or three computers running because there's this one lab that nobody goes in. I don't know. I don't think it smells bad, but it's not as comfortable as some of the others. But I go in there, run up three machines, and I'm looking at stuff on Wikipedia over here and looking on novels over there and reading this and reading that. And I got a pile of books, and I'm typing away, Now, I couldn't do that here. And no one bothers me. No one knocks on the door and comes in and bothers me. Or, I mean, there are people who come. Wow. That's the one thing about being at a library from when it opened. And I still do have a circle that I sit at, and people can say, are you that really smart guy? Can I ask you a question? I got a problem. And I go, sure, sit down. And I always have time. I don't say, oh no, I'm too busy. I'm writing my novel. No, I said, sure, sit down. Let's talk. Well, I'll leave the computer lab with piles of books and computers running and go over and sit at the nice comfy chairs. And the librarians there are so nice. They never, ever, ever give me a hard time, pretty much about anything I do, except if I get into a discourse with some. If there are certain areas where you can talk and they don't get upset, but there are certain areas that say, this is a quiet area, don't. And if I talk in the quiet area, they do come over and say, ow. They give me the neck, they give me the head. Of course, I know we're making it happen. Why do you think I keep doing this? You think if I didn't have any faith or sense or understanding that this is actually, we are actually in every day and every way taking the PC and making it stronger for anyone who wants to come and visit. Thank you, Dragon. I love you too. I love all the cadre. So say we all, you know. But we have to understand, I mean, even though we are turning around. The cadre is turning around, and we're seeing behind. We're seeing who we are. We are understanding those things that we don't want to face. You know, it's hard for everyone to say, I'm sorry, because we're so embarrassed about what we've done. You know? But what we've done wasn't our fault. Now, we're in a pickle sociologically, politically, economically because, the hidden hand, the powers that shouldn't be, and the sock puppets all are scared shitless because they are so scared to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we've kept free energy away from everyone. I'm sorry we've, forced billions of people to die in war and starvation. I'm sorry that we lie, cheat, and steal. I'm sorry that we, incarcerate a whole planet of 6 to 8 billion people just so I can feel good about being in charge. And, they're really scared because they've really tried to wipe us out because we make them so scared. We make them fear. I mean, why do they have such miserable lives? Because they fear their life, you know? They have a real problem with it. So, and they have a problem with choices, consequences, and responsibility because they run their life on, you know, problem, action, solution. I mean, they make the problem, they create the action to manifest the outcome they want, conscious of the consequences that they're doing because they're blaming other people all the time. There was a French Leconte, a psychologist, who said, whenever you hear people go, what's your problem? They're talking about themselves. So when you hear people talking about those bad hombres, they're coming to rape, pillage, and steal. Well, that's what you're doing, raping, pillaging, and stealing. Whenever you blame someone or wherever you put people in the category of the other, that's who you're talking about, you know. And to be in the right state of mind is to, live with love's co-creation. Yep. And the problem with self-destruction, it usually takes the innocent with them. So that's why we have to live by example, and we have to do it every day and every way in our lives. When we go out to the store or the movies or do whatever, boom, we got to do it. We have to live by example. Yes, people can, we get frustrated. We can, grit our teeth. We can stamp our feet. But see, that gives the opportunity to experience this as a simulation, how to do better. You know, with each challenge, you do better. Why do we fall down? So we can get up. You know, why? When I died the first time, how come I didn't stay dead? Because I got up. You know, I've got 6 deaths under my belt in this. In this body, not in past lives. In this one, right? Thus, I'll be prepared to die when I die. Yes, it'll be interesting. It's like Huxley's Doors to Perception. When Huxley died, he went out with like 8 trillion hits of acid. I mean, he went out on a rocket ship, that boy. So, you know, not just so much say what's wrong with me, what, but more like what's wrong with my attitude, or what's wrong with what I just did. You know, and that's and the more we have out of body experiences, the more we have lucid dreaming, the more we go in state through meditation, the more we're getting a grasp on what this is all about. Yes. Oh, whiny, whiny, whiny. But like I said, I'm a terrible liar. That's why I don't lie. To have to remember all that shit, forget about it. And to steal, you know, why steal anything? Because all you have to do is work a little bit to get what you want, and then you can appreciate what you get. Stealing doesn't really, and the cost of stealing stuff, not so much. I've worked in jails. No, not a good idea, right? And again, cheating. I never cared, and I knew enough to, basically what I would do is, tests. When I was younger, I just, you know, didn't care enough to take the test, right? But what I would do is say, listen, because I have all of that stuff that they now give poor kids for, HDAD, dyslexia, all of that stuff. And in actuality, those things are showing the way of the next. There's Homo sapien. Well, there is the people call them the I don't even know what they call them, the calabash kids. No, the multicolored children. No, it's the but biologists call them. There's the Homo sapien sapien, and there is a new kid on the block called Homo sapien super sapien, hominins. And those guys were actually smarter, nicer, gentler. They didn't have big clubs and hitting people over the head. And that was Homo sapien sapien that did that. Before then, we were just having a good time. You know, we were making art and picking berries. But Homo sapien super sapien, the transhuman. But there are other, the X-Men, the you know, folks who are mutants. There are a lot of them around, and the Nazis knew all about it. That's why they had the death camps. They were experimenting on people. Why do you think they pushed all the Jews into one camp? Because they were a more relevant, purified race than all the mutts that were in Europe, right? So, and they were one of the last off, in the neighborhood off the boat. So that's why the Nazis went after them. And they really didn't go after them. Meaning the Anunnaki went after them. The Zionists went after them. Those guys were the precursors of the Nazis. Before, they were just the Nationalist Socialist Party. That whole concept of the super race. And again, you have to realize that it's the Hebrew tribes, not the Jewish people. You know, and they never had. We're going home to Israel. No, sorry. It was the Balfour Agreement that made Israel. Not anything historical. There was no real, historical. Now, don't believe me. Don't believe Sensei Al Bob. I don't believe in anything, so don't believe me. Do your own homework. Go look up the Khazarian Mafia. Go look up, Hebrew tribes, Jewish people, Zionism, Anunnaki. Go look it up. Don't take anything I say. This is all entertainment. It's Hollywood. Do, Hollywood. Don't believe anything I say. I would not be a good griot if I told you, hey, believe this one. No. It's up to you to figure it out. Don't believe it. Figure it out. Right? Then live your life in accordance to that path of love's co-creation. It's not about believing anybody, that's for sure. It's understanding. And not understanding, because you don't want to be underneath it. You want to overstand it. Loves you all. Yep. Aho. So, what else did I want to talk about? Again, wanting to live, to be alive is not enough. Wanting to understand why you're here and serving love's co-creation, that's what life is about. Making others happy will make you happy. And saying you're sorry is not good enough, but as my second wife used to say, it's a good start. And I could drive her crazy. I mean, just standing someplace, I could drive her crazy because I wasn't the epitome of the aesthetic that she was trying for. I mean, she made all my clothes for me. I mean, again, go read the story. Find purpose. Know thyself. Thank you, Dragon. Yep, that's what's over the front door of our house there. Falling water. So you can overstand. That's why that front door is so tall. And that's why you have your own lodge off the commons. Zero infinity. Hi, okay. So 30 minutes and 30 seconds. I love it when I do that. And so I think tonight's guided meditation is going to be going to the land of knowing yourself, right? Going into our lodge, going into our house of pulling water, going through the front door that says, know thyself. Our house is the house of the Oracle of Delphi, right? That's our house. Right? And when you go to Delphi, where the Oracle is, here's a good story. So my first wife, Donna, and I, we were traveling the world, and we went to Greece, we took one of those magic carpet rides from Sweden, and so we had lodging and food and tours, but we didn't have any money to go anyplace else. So I really wanted to go to Delphi, and so we go to Delphi, and we take a bus, right? And they have other ways to get there. The rich people go other way. We would took like the bus with the chickens and all of that, right? And it stopped every 20. Not only did it stop, it broke down 20 times. And especially you go way up this cliff, and the road is like this thing, and there's a cliff that goes down thousands of feet, right where if you're sitting on that side, you're looking down. It's like, oh my God. And the bus broke down 20 or so times. And every time the fucking bus broke down, there was a little guy who would come out from behind a bush, and he'd have a bunch of tools wrapped up in a towel. And the bus driver said, they put some big stones under the tires. Everyone would get off, and they would fool around with the motor or transmission or steering or whatever was wrong until it seemed to work. And then we'd get on and go another 20 or 30 kilometers until it broke down again. And then another guy with a towel of tools would work on it. Anyway, it took us forever to get there. So we got there, and all we could get was there was a place for the traveler's aid, right? And all we could get is they had a basket of food that they were going to throw out anyway at a restaurant or at the store, kind of moldy cheese and 2-day-old stale bread and stuff like that. And so we got whatever they would give us, and there was no place we could stay. So we decided that we would go and find a nice place to camp down. We had our bedrolls with us. It was a beautiful day, sunny day, and way out in the woods, but it was kind of a hill in the middle of town. Kind of went up, and we came at it from the back side, not from the main street, but this kind of, we walked around and went up this hill and then came down that hill onto this hill. It was nice. It was like greeny and soft and mossy and really very nice, like almost like a bed. And so we, rolled out our bedrolls. We got underneath them and snuggled up. And that was the 8 years I spent with Donna Ann. Every night was so sweet. We would snuggle up. And especially when we were on the road, we kind of realized that, I know this sounds oxymoron, but even in cold areas, if you have a good bedroll, a good, mummy bag, and you get inside it naked, you will actually stay warmer than if you were wearing your clothes inside, because the clothes hold the dampness in, and then that gets cold, and then you get cold. Okay, so take all your clothes off, get underneath the wraps, and go to sleep. And we would do that, and snuggle up, and see what developed. Things always developed. Anyway, so then we'd be satisfied and go to sleep. Anyway, so we're all snuggled up. We're all I in my kerchief and my mama on her hat. We settled down for a good spring evening's nap. So we're asleep and we're watching the stars at first, and they were amazing. There was no lights on this, in this part of town, and you could see the stars. It was unbelievable. So we were watching them, and we snuggled up more, and then we kind of poked our heads underneath the blankets to stay warmer, and I fell asleep. I never have a problem falling asleep. I just meditate a little bit, and I hit the fork in the road. One way I go straight to sleep, or as my sensei used to say, deep meditation, or I would, go into state. So anyway, I'm gone. I'm asleep. And sometime in the night, I kind of wake up, because this little draft is coming on me, and I hear this doo 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 doo, cross-legged, naked in the night air, and she's straight up. Get under the covers, and as I'm waking up, I notice there's this greenish kind of flickering light around us. And when we went to bed, it was darker than dark and just starlights, not no like lights from a store or anything, or a parking lot or a car, because there were no roads or anything. And so I look around and I'm looking at her, and she is in this greenish kind of flickering light, and she's looking straight up. So I look straight up. And what is over us but a gigantic flying saucer? And the lights around it are going whoop this way. And it's as she is singing, the lights are dancing to her song. She is like communicating with the flying saucer. And I'm going, whoa, I'm like in shock. I'm not scared. I'm not that, because she's not. She's like she's got her eyes open. She's looking straight up at this thing, and she's like, and she's a really great musician. She plays the violin, the bass, the accordion. She sings. She dances. She often wiggles like a reptile. But she was my sweet Donna Ann, my little leprechaun. And in the sweetest of way. Not really, no. She was a milkmaid, no. She was a Irish goddess. That's what she was. Anyway, so I'm looking up at this thing, and I'm going, wow, that's pretty, Now, I've seen things that you couldn't quite, they were doing crazy stuff, but way far. This thing is just like 1,000 feet or so above my head, and I can't see any stars. It is pretty big. It's like, as big as half the size of a football field, maybe a quarter. But I mean, at least 50 to 100 yards. It's pretty big, right? And it's a circle, and the lights are going around it. Woo, 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 and I'm going, whoa. And I think to myself, well, if there's ever a time to meet these guys, this is it. So the thing starts coming down, and now I can't see any stars, and it's really dark, and it's really strange colors, and I go, wait. Maybe I mistook, maybe I'm not ready for this. So it stops, and she's still singing. And I said, maybe another time. So it goes, keeps going up higher, and then zings out, right? And then she like shivers and shivers like a dog. She really shakes, and she looks down at me. I'm under the cover. She's naked, sitting cross-legged, on the pillow, and she goes, "What am I doing here? What's going on?" I said, "Honey, you were singing to a flying saucer." She goes, "What?" I said, "Yeah, this thing was, it almost came down, and we almost had tea with it." And she goes, "I don't remember anything." I said, "Your eyes were open. You didn't see that?" "No, I'm cold. I'm getting under the covers." She got under the covers, sunk way down to the bottom, kind of wiggled herself around me and said, "Warm me up." Like, "Beam me up, Scotty." Anyway, so we got warmed up and went back to sleep. So next morning breaks, and I wake up, and we come down the hill off the front way towards where this road is. And as we're coming down it, there are all these signs in Greek. And then there's one in English that says, "Do not trespass. This is the Oracle at Delphi." And then we kind of go by this kind of opening, and some people see us like coming out of there, and they're looking at us like, "Huh? What were you doing up there?" And this, guy who lives there says, "You guys know where you were?" And I said, "Yeah, we were like, see up there, over there." She goes, "You were up there?" And I go, "Oh, yeah." He goes, "Don't you know there's a vent up there?" And I go, "Vent?" He goes, "Don't you realize that this is an ancient volcano?" I said, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, this is the Oracle of Delphi. and gases come up from the earth, and they are deadly and psychotropic. I said, psychotropic? It said, yeah, you'd start tripping and then maybe die. So that's why they have the sign saying, don't go up there because you're going to die. And that's where we slept. So whether that observation of that flying saucer, my wife singing to it, was an hallucination from a underground gas coming up, and I had read about it, and that's where the oracles, they would huff the gas and have the insights, right? Just like the shaman in South America get Anunnaki blown up their nose, right? And that's why the seers of Avenue D would huff paint thinner, right? It's all connected somehow. So anyway, we went down and we got our few coins together, and they had these really nice breakfasts. Everyone deserved a good breakfast, so they had some nice tea and these very nice little, we think we have, interesting breakfast biscuits. No, I mean, every country has their own version of those. And these guys had really good ones, put Hardee's to shame. And so we bought a bag of those and a little cups of really strong tea. And we started, going on tour ourselves. And my wife, one of the things that she really cared about, that I let her do her own thing, right? Now, sometimes she got upset with me that I never got jealous, and that I wouldn't fight with her. That was the, she would want to get in a tizzy about something. I said, honey, don't worry about it. Whatever you want, we'll do it your way. And she, no. Why do you, and it's a lot of times she would go, why do you always do this? You never argue. I said, what? There is no sense to argue. It doesn't make sense. She used to call me a compassionate computer. She goes, all you do is analyze everything. Well, I thought you liked that about me. Yes, I do. I like the fact that you understand everything, so you keep me safe. You make sure everything's works out right. And yes, I like that. But when I want to argue with you, I want you to scream. I said, don't you think it's better that, I save that kind of energy for, having whoopee? You like that too. If you like the fact that I float your boat. Don't you think it's better I save it for that rather than argue over something senseless? I don't care. If you want to do it this way, we'll do it this way. If there is a logical reason for not doing it that way, I will give you that logical reason and show you through logic this is the way we should do it. And most times that works out pretty good. Every now and then, not so much. But I understand, and I don't get upset. But she would get upset that I wouldn't fight. I said, we don't have, because all her old boyfriends who were real putzes, I met a few of them, would make what she would have. Yes, I'm an Aquarius. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I'm the most Aquarian you're going to come across. I am like, a Tootsie Roll rolled in bacon, deep fried, chocolate and sprinkles. That's me. Again, an acquired taste. So anyway, so she went off and did her thing, and I was in the point of, on a new composition book and writing. So I was in my sonnet period when I was with Donna Ann, and I was writing a sonnet, and I was way up on top of this hill, and I was trying to think of Greek thoughts, and I start hearing German in my head. Not Greek, which I wouldn't have understood, but German I understood, because we had lived a little bit in Germany, and I had lived in Germany before Donna Ann. And when I was at Trinity, I would take little, trips. Anyway, Archie and I would go on sabbatical. So I'm hearing German, and these guys are making cracks about being in the Olympics. And I take out I have a little spyglass, and I take it out of my pack, and I'm looking around, and I see these guys like a good half mile, at least, if not more, down at the bottom of the hill that I'm sitting on top of. And I'm looking at them, and What I'm hearing is exactly what they're doing. They're taking their clothes off and running around and pretending they're in the Greek Olympics, right? And I'm going, my God, I can hear these guys. The acoustics of this hill is so I can, and they're not screaming. They're just talking like I'm talking to you, and I can hear them, half mile away. Anyway, so I'm like watching this and just amazed, and I'm trying to write a sonnet about it, and the sun is going down, and we said, okay, at a certain time we're going to meet back over at the tourist aid place and see what we're going to do for then. And we were also waiting for a friend of mine to show up, and he had money. We had been living in Europe on pennies, and he was coming from New York visiting, and because we had been sending him postcards, telling him about our adventures, so he came over. Anyway, so I go down the hill and I go over, and she's still out taking pictures of something. So I kind of go over to where they have these nice little tables and sit at a chair, and I get, I have enough few pennies to get myself a cup of tea, which this really strong, whoa, kind of Greek tea, peasant tea, which I know that they'll give me at least 3 or 4 cups of those before they start looking at me strange for being at that same table, being an American and only having, pauper tea. That's what they used to call it. But anyway, I'm sitting there, and this guy comes over, and we just, as I normally do, just strike up a conversation. I'm trying to experiment with my, very halting Greek, and he starts laughing. And then, I try French, and he laughs even more. And he goes, "Why don't you just stick with English?" I go, "Oh, good, good, good." And so we started talking about, what, the what Delphi was. He goes, "This is where the Olympics are." Of course, I know it's where the Olympics. And he goes, "Do you know what the number one thing in the Greek Olympics was?" And I go, "Well, I always say this. If I don't know, I say I don't know." And he goes, "Oh, that's a mark of a smart man." And I said, "So what is it?" He goes, "Take a guess." And I go, "Nah, I'm not into guessing." And he goes, "Oh, you must be an Aquarian." And I kind of said, Anyway, so he goes, "The most important thing in the Greek Olympics was theater." And like light bulb went on. I said, "Was it over that place, over that, where that hill?" He goes, "Yes, that was the theater." I said, "I was on top and I could hear these guys speaking in German." And he said, "Yes, they have amazing acoustics, which can't even be replicated now, you know." And that's how it was. There'd be 20,000 people on that hill listening to a Euripides play, and they would be performing it, you know. And then he goes, "What do you think the second most important thing of Olympics was?" And I go, "Okay, hey, buddy." He goes, "Home decoration." I go, "What?" He goes, "Why do you think all the houses in Greece are white?" Because they are gesso canvases. Every Olympic year, people would paint amazing things on there. That's where trompe l'oeil, what the French did in trompe l'oeil, the Greek citizens did, right? And so they would paint. And then the people who were chosen by the judges as they roamed through Greece cities would bring, the 10 or 20 most amazing, and they would do something there. And then, the three best would get chose. And I said, "What about the spears and the running and the jumping?" And he goes, "No, that was the least most important thing in the Olympics. That was for the morons. That was for the guys who had to, we had to let the soldiers do something, so we let them do that." So, and then I told him about the flying saucer, and, he said, "Did you slip out? Like, you could have died up there." Yeah, the guy told me. So anyway, that's my little story of, the Delphi and, the Oracle at Delphi. And that is what our house is. When you go into your superconscious mind and up on the hill on the backside of where the carnival is, that is where our house, our Oracle of Delphi is, right? That's the name of that house. And that house is Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Waterhouse, a house that's in Pennsylvania, but gigantic, like a Greek Parthenon, but Frank Lloyd Wright. And we go in through the front, right? And we walk down the Great Hall, and the 9 doors are on one side, and the coat room into our, into when we want to go visit from our great house. That we go into the courtroom, and at the end of the coat room goes into the old crone's coat room in her farmhouse. And Dragon made an amazing painting of all of that when he was like 11 years old, right? How old were you, Dragon? With that one where the tree is there and then there's the bridge going into the floating farmhouse and a little bit of dirt underneath? How old were you when you did that one? And that's exactly, I have you guys go over the bridge. You were 11, 13. And how old are you now, Dragon? You're what, 30, 20? How old are you? Well, how many years ago was it that you drew that painting? So he saw that, 30. So he did it at 11. So, kind of like 20 years ago, he had the visualization of the Akashic record, of the old Crone's farmhouse, of the bridge going to the superconscious mind, and the tree of knowledge. And not only that, he's got this thing that looks like the sun that is exactly what, the photonic light is. He got it all at 11, 20 years before he met us. This is why I say there is no linear time, right? So with that, we're at 54 minutes. I want everyone to find themselves a nice, comfortable spot. Put the cat out, send the kids to bed, and we're going to go into state, right? And we're going to look at truth and honesty as the backbone of the path that we're on. You can't say that about me. What did I say about you? I said that you saw what you were the oracle, buddy. That's what I say about you, Dragon. You are the oracle. So as we are. So as we all are. So as we all say. That's what I'm saying. Okay, I'm going to turn off the bright light. Everyone get into a comfy position, a safe place to go into state. Sit down, lie down, whatever you want to do. I'm going to dim the lights. Are we back? Right. Everyone here? Okay, I'm going to turn the lights down. I have to stretch anyway. Okay. Good. So I'm going to smudge everyone. This is sage. This is part of the shamanic ceremony. Take the magic fire stick, the big lighter. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, feed us not. the beginning, is now, ever shall be. Smudging takes. I just feel saying something before it happened. I don't claim to be. You aren't a prophet. An oracle is a big difference, right? You know, oracles see things. Doesn't mean they're going to happen, or that's the truth, or whatever it means. Prophet is trying to. I know what I'm talking about. Believe in me. No, you're not that. But when you draw, when I write, I do this thing called autonomic writing, right? So yes, there's a good deal of your griot sensei Albob in my writing, and all you got to do is go to my XRATTED blogspot.com to read it. And again, it's a shamanic ceremony. It does things to you when you read it. You often might have to read it a few times. That's why I put them in little cuts of 20, 30 pages. Anyway, and that's, and we all have this, esoteric dragon. It's not, putting any real weight on you, or, you got to step up or do this or do that or be this or be that. No, we all have this in us. And by being part of, the cadre, part of being the adept is you go to step up. You become part of something bigger than yourself. And that's what when you paint, dragon, when you draw, you're becoming something greater than yourself. So don't feel bad about it. Don't, feel guilty. Don't feel embarrassed. No, it's just who you are. It's what you do. You know, I don't feel embarrassed about, being your sensei Al Bob. I don't feel guilty about being a griot. I was always this. Now, I'm older, so I'm wiser. I've got, experience of things, etc. But why, through all my whole life, am I always where I'm supposed to be? Because that's what I'm supposed to do. I don't feel embarrassed about it, I don't feel like, oh, I'm a rock and roll star. I'm important. No, no more important than anybody else, you know. But I within my construct, I, step up to the responsibilities of my life. Now, I may, I'm venal, I'm human, I'm flawed, so I don't always do everything perfect. And my second wife, she loved the fact, I could drive her nuts sometimes with those little idiosyncratic. But she constantly said, if I measure the minuses and the plus, there's so much in the plus category that I'm not worrying about the minus. Yes, I can, like my Italian, she was a real Italian girl, and and the fact that I could understand, analyze, and not be, you know, patronizingly patient, but try to understand. Try to put myself in her shoes. And that's what she really loved most about me, was that I was always trying to put myself in her shoes, understand, right? Not judge, not get upset, but understand, right? And that's what the cadre is about. We're here to understand, right? To be there for all our relations, right? That's what the cadre is here to do, to be there for all our relations, right? To in every day, in every way, take the piece of the earth and make it stronger. And here we are at 1 hour, 1 minute, and 1 second. So everyone's sitting there, and I want you all to breathe that in, that 20%. Breathe it in, let it go, breathe out that 30%. Focus your conscious mind on your breath. Focusing, because to breathe that extra 20% in, you're going to have to shut the squirrel up. And the only way you can take that prana in and breathe it out, expelling all the waste products. The only way you can do that is by focusing your conscious mind on your breath. So I'm going to count from 1 to 3, and as I do, you're going to go into a deep, deep, deep state of conscious relaxation, where your conscious free will become more and more awake. And the, meat puppet squirrel in the head of your Rolodex mind will go to sleep. So that's why you're in a comfortable, safe position, sitting or lying, as you're breathing, taking in that 20%. See it clearly, right? We breathe out, exhale, almost 30,000 cubic feet of waste product, so see it clearly. Breathe it in, breathe it out, see it clearly. And 1, you're going to a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. You're breathing in the prana, that's the lungs, and your blood is passing through your lungs, and that iron-rich blood is picking up the prana, and the blood is swirling through your veins and arteries and capillaries, and not in a glub, 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 glub kind of way, but you're swirling, it's swirling, it's swirling, just like there. And there's a swirl going around the inside of your veins, and inside of that swirl, there's another swirl going counterclockwise, and then inside of that swirl, there's one going clockwise. So what does that create but a polyphase alternating current that creates a scalar frequency? And that scalar frequency creates along the cell wall in your mitochondria the photonic light. And that is the light of love's co-creation. That's the light that gives no shadow, that gives no doubt. When you illuminate things with photonic light, you see the truth. And that's why when you take that energy from your cells and put it into your imaginary mirror, that's right, your eyes right in front of your eyelids, where you have REM sleep, where you have dreams, and that's what dreams are photonic reflections of your subconscious mind. So you're going to take that light and shine it into your subconscious mind like a beam, and you will illuminate your subconscious mind, and we are walking into your subconscious mind, and you are seeing that your subconscious mind isn't a scary place where monsters and scary things live. No, it is the home, the library of your Akashic record. Your Akashic record is the record of your soul's existence from the alpha to the omega, And that's because that Big Bang was created by Lucifer, so angry, breaking the hegemony of heaven, bringing down the current from heaven into the darkness. And as the Bible says, in the beginning all things were dark, meaning what you look up in physics books what darkness is. It's the presence of every color of frequency of light. Put them all together, RGB, red, green, blue, yellow, all of them, put them all together, you get black. Now, fog, it's a kind of fog, semi-translucent, but you put your hand in front of that light, that white light, and you'll get a shadow. So there is no truth when things are illuminated with Luciferian illusion of reality. When we get as shadows, we are existing in our, when we exist in our avatar, our mud puppet, we are living in the shadow world and the shadow reality. And that's why this illusion shadow world is ruled by fear, anger, hatred, mistrust, self loathing, avarice, jealousy. And at this moment, you're walking into your library, you see the fireplace of the eternal flame, the nice blue flame there, the eternal flame. And in front of that are a number of very nice, easy chairs for guests to sit at. And the fireplace is you looking at really books. And everything is, your whole library is made up of books of the Akashic Record, of all of eternity. And in front of those easy chairs is your reading table. And above it is a photonic light that illuminates your whole library. And there are no shadows whatsoever in this library. And behind your reading table is your reading chair, and you sit down at that. And to your left is your librarian. Take a good look at your librarian. Remember what your librarian looks like. And to the left of your librarian is your animal totem. Remember what your animal totem looks like. And to the left of your animal totem is your guardian angels. See these clearly. Remember what they all look like. Your librarian brings you the information, your Akashic record. Your animal totem there, see it clearly, is there to tell you a story. Is your library griot. Right? You can see information in your Akashic record. Your librarian can bring you information all day. You may not understand it. So your animal totem is there to tell you a story, just like your griot Sensei Al Bob tells you a story, and it gives you insights about things I'm not even talking about. But you're going, oh, wow, what's that mean? Then I keep telling the story, and you get a firmer and firmer clarification, right? And why do you have a guard? Go against what you believe in the illusionary world, what you think your, worldview is. But no, that's an illusion. That's Hollywood. So see this clearly. And two, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. Your avatar is totally asleep, relaxed in that chair, on that bed. You're in a safe position. If you need to get up, know that all I have to do is snap my fingers and you'll be perfectly awake. And you're safe and you're secure and you're breathing deep and your body is healing itself. But now you are consciously, with your free will, in your sanctuary, not your sanctuary, in your library of your Akashic record. And your librarian brings you your Akashic record. You open it up and you put your left hand on the left empty page and the right hand on the right empty page. And you lean into your Akashic record and you eliminate, you evacuate all of the anger, all of the fear, all of the hatred, all of the self-loathing, all of the envy, all of the negative characteristics of your illusionary, quote unquote, reality. See it clearly. See all the lies and the mistruths and the misunderstandings that make you feel terrible, you know? And see, once all of this negative energy has been evacuated from your soul, from your conscious free will, and you close the book on it, boom, you now feel lighter than light. You feel like a, 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 a helium balloon, and you kind of float up and you're just kind of skipping along, and there's the 9 doors, and you're going for the open one. And that open one is the doorway to your superconscious mind, where your sanctuary of your own choosing is. And you see some steps and the railing, and your hand is on the railing, and you're stepping up, and it's a bridge. It's your id, the bridge that takes you from your sanctuary, not just of the library of your Akashic record, to your sanctuary of your own choosing. Now you're top of the bridge. Take a good look. You're overstanding your your sanctuary. See it all down below you. You see there is the meadow and the gazebo in front of it, right? And to the east of that is the tree of knowledge and the tree of life and the great lake of the link, right? And to the west is the carnival, right? And up just south of that, of the shining city, where the shining our house is, our which is known as the sanction, no, is known as the Oracle of Delphi, and we're walking down the bridge, and we walk over to towards the west of where the carnival is, and then you kind of take the path up south, up the hill, and you go up to our house, which is the Oracle of Delphi, that looks exactly like Frank Lloyd Wright's house that was built in Pennsylvania, known as Flowing Water. And it's a big, I mean, it's as big as anything was, 40 feet high, and above it, over the front door, it says, Know Thyself. And we open the doors and we walk in to the hallway, and on, the right side are the nine, just like the nine doors that are in your library, same nine doors. And to the left, there's this big doorway that goes into the coat closet where we can hang or leave anything we want for safekeeping. But at the end is goes into the coat closet in the old Crone's farmhouse on our farm. But we're still walking down the Great Hall into the common room. The common room is at the far end of the common room is the entrance into the long the hedgerow longhouse. And we look in there, and it looks like there's a forest in there. And there's this big, long, indigenous structure made out of birch bark. And it's very tall, 30, 40 feet tall. And it has a width of about 80 feet and a length that is almost goes into infinity. Yet it is surrounded by this forest that is a hedgerow. And a hedgerow is first a foundation of all the stones that have been taken out of the field that the longhouse is built upon. And over the centuries, bushes and trees and vines have grown up. And it's sticky things like witch hazel and hawthorn and rose bushes, everything that has a thorn, which would make a wall, a protective wall of beauty and energetic sense, and a a wall, protectiveness, a forest that no one could get at from the other side. And as we enter into the longhouse, there is a gatekeeper who tells us, okay, we're going to talk about this, and we're looking for everyone has an equal ability to speak through the chat and the magic feather of the screen, right? And we all sit in a circle so we can face each other. And what we're going to talk about is integrity. What we're going to talk about is choice, consequences, responsibility, which creates our destiny. Truth and honesty is the path to our destiny. Okay, so what do you guys in the chorus think? Yep. No, right now I'm in the hedgerow longhouse that resides at the end of our common room in our house, which is known as the Oracle of Delphi. That's where I am right now. And so what are you guys seeing? What are you seeing about honesty, integrity? What do you see about being able to see 360? I mean, here we are sitting in a circle 360. We can see each other. No one can hide. It is illuminated with the energy of the prana father, sky, and the grounding of our chi and Mother Earth. And it creates photonic light. That photonic light, right now, you can see shadows, right? Well, in the hedgerow, see, there are no shadows. See, there's this shadow right over my head. We don't know what that shadow is because it's a shadow. But under photonic light, there are no shadows. There are no lies. There's only integrity. And there is the ability to be telepathic. And when you are telepathic, there are no lies. There is no stealing. There is no cheating. Because we can all read each other's minds. This is what humans have. But it was taken away through the Babylonian money magic. We lived in a infinite universe of abundance, no scarcity, no zero, no one person winning and the other person losing. Everyone got what they needed, got what they want. Everyone shared, and everyone was made happy when other people were happy, not by stealing things, cheating things, lying, right? Because the only person you can lie to is yourself. And when you lie to yourself, that's when we go into dis-ease, diseased. That's when we die, when we lie to ourselves. The thing is not to lie to yourself. Then you can't lie to anybody else. I mean, why am I such a bad liar? It's because I can't lie to myself, right? Because I have this kind of instantaneous karma. I can't forget about it, right? That's why if I'm at the supermarket and the cashier gives me an extra penny than more than I should have, unless she says, "Here, I want to give you this penny," if she, by default, she gives it to me by accident, but I notice it and I walk out with it, I'm stealing. Well, my karma is so instantaneous, I will get run over by a truck for a penny. So I can't lie, I can't steal. And cheating, when you cheat, the only person you cheat is yourself. Now, I never cheated on a test because I didn't believe in tests. So my teachers, I would say, listen, I don't do good on these things. But, when you have the time, I will, we can sit down, have a cup of tea. You ask me the questions that are on that test, and I will tell you, the story of the answer. That's why I was saying, once I realized that in, third grade, that's what I did all the way through and why do you think I became a scholar? Because, all through high school, I had amazing teachers, I mean, the schools I went to were schools for the richest people on earth, the most powerful people on earth, and those teachers were there to teach them. And this one school I went to, at the time I went to, it's not so much that way anymore, but it was during the middle of the Vietnam War, or early part of the Vietnam War, since the end of the war in Japan, because we were, you know, stockpiling all these weapons out in the Pacific, and instead of sending back, where did we send them to? But to Korea and Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand for the next war. And the first group of weapons we gave to the people who we wanted to be our enemy. Ho Chi Minh was our ally. You know, he went to school at NYU to study. He wanted to be the George Washington of Vietnam. He wrote this Constitution straight up from ours, right? Or at least the one that we publish. And this is when people don't lie. But once you have a belief, an agenda, it's really easy to lie. And that's when you have to start lying to yourself. Those commies are evil. We got to kill them. We got to bomb them back into death, you know? And I can't lie. Sorry, can't do it. Because you'll have to lie to yourself. Because that's the only way you can keep the story straight, is to lie to yourself, right? And then, you know, at school, so I never cheated because again, like I said, tests were worthless. It didn't mean anything, right? And then, you know, I had some great teacher, you know, from Miss Girling on, I had the most amazing teachers, and one tried to kill me, which is a good lesson, you know. You know, don't piss, the big gorilla who's dressed up in a nun costume that hasn't had sex in 30 years. Don't piss that bitch off. You know, she'll kill you, you know. And she will have a sexual release as she's strangling you. And that's what murderers are. They are self oppressed folk who've been traumatized to act this way. And now we have, you know, the brothers and sisters of the dark arts of MK Ultra and the Tavistock Institute have turned it into a science, and all sciences are religions. See that clearly. So does anyone have anything to say about that? Let's hear some comments. Yes, I know you're in state. I know you're oming. I know, but you know, we're sitting, this is what we do when we're in the longhouse. We have a conversation. We come to a consensus, right? Longhouse, you first meet the gatekeeper. Gatekeeper tells you, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. If you can't talk about this, if you got a hidden agenda about this, if you got da 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 da, if you can't, you know, have respect for everyone in the longhouse, well, you can't come in. If you can, come on in. Right? Then you sit down, and then there's the vibe watcher who says the prayer, and the vibe watcher is there. When things get heated, the vibe watcher has the authority to shut everyone out and pray. So, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, as was in the beginning, is now, ever shall be, world without end. Amen. And every day and every way we take the peace of the earth and we make it stronger with love's co-creation. Our mother, Aho, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and the hour of death. Amen. As was in the beginning, is now, ever shall be, world without end. Amen. And every day and every way, we take the peace of the earth and we make it stronger by forming our chi, our connection to our mother through our chi. And we energize it from Father Sky, the breathing in the prana of life's, love's, co-creation's animation. So, anyone got anything to say? We're sitting in the circle here. And I am acting as the facilitator. And the other character in the group is, or I would call the Grandmother's Council, because the Grandmother's Council creates the agenda and then facilitates it. Doesn't, decide, but it brings forth the discussion. And that's what the Longhouse is about, bringing forth the discussion. Right? And this is a process that I want to facilitate. Our Constitution and our congressional political structure of balances of power were based on the Iroquois Great Law. That's where the Longhouse came from. That's why we have a Congress. And that's why the guys who threw the T into the Boston thing were wearing Indian garb along with their Masonic aprons, because they were trying to develop an alternative aesthetic that mixed their Masonic beliefs of enlightenment with the ancient truths of the Iroquois Great Law, which go all the way back to Tataski, who was the great peacemaker, who was Jesus Christ, because the Iroquois nation was formed by these nations, the Mohawks, the Iroquois, the Seneca, a few more, who basically were warriors, and they just kept going at each other for centuries. Now, at least they fought honorably, and honestly. They would go off to a place where just they would be at each other. They would not go after the crops. They would not go after the women and children and the elderly. They would not destroy the camp. They had a hollowed, place where they would fight, and they would go at it, right? And they had rules, right? Can't get the guy when he's down. Can't do this. Can't do that. And that made them honorable warriors, which is what they want. Their honor was the most important thing. In the middle of a fight, if somebody was going to die from something else, they'd all go to save him, even if he was the enemy. And that was what honor was about. And that's why, honesty and integrity were the two foundation stones of honor. And what brought honor was grace. That's what you walked in, grace. And these are the things that we have to live by example, to take forth and to be the 360. So we're not putting our back to anyone. See this clearly. And the other member of the Grandmother's Council is the scribe, the person who takes it down. And you guys are the scribe, so start scribing. Let's see some scribble here on the old live chat, What do you think about all this? How does it reference to your life in your everyday and every way? What are your experiences? Come on, let's hear some of your stories. I'm trying to, show by example of how to be a griot. Now I'm just being this is the Sensei Al Bob griot. You need to be your own griot. So let's see some scribbling here. Let's see some grioting. Doop boop boo. Okay, so we've been talking now about an hour and 32 minutes and 45 seconds, a little bit. To who's ever going to scribble, or the the chorus is also the scribe. Anyway, look at that. It's like the shadow of the hair I used to have. I used to have hair that was long like this, went down to my shoulders. It would kind of look kind of cute. Anyway, some women even say I'm still kind of cute. Anyway, so the second's ticking away, 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 54 seconds. Oh. I got the script. You know, I've written 26 novels, about 80 short stories, and more than 300 what I call treatises, meaning papers, white papers. I used to be, they were called white papers when I worked for the think tanks. These are white papers. Well, I wrote about 300 of them, and I wrote about all of this stuff. And I put it into all kinds of, mechanisms to, I'm a strategist. First and foremost, as a griot, I'm a strategist. As an Aquarian, I'm a strategist. And for a good 20 years, that's what I was paid to write about. They called it being a scholar, but I was a strategist. Now, they would take what I would write about and put it into their own words and their own corporate ease. But, and I did it because A, they paid me pretty good. B, they put me in environments that were really, traveled around the world, had great experiences, met great people at these conferences, made really great connections, found great teachers, and I followed their path. Right? So I have it all written down. You know, I need, vehicles. Most of it's on paper, but or thumb drives. But again, I am not that skilled as back in the day when I first got introduced to computers, they changed, like every 20 years. Now they change every 20 minutes. So as soon as I kind of figure out how to use some software or some, you know, piece of hardware, it's obsolete. And my scholarly path, when the last really well-paid corporate job I had was working for as a negotiator for desperate lawyers. And then I got really sick from that path because I was exposed to that lifestyle of living in the swimming pool of chocolate mousse, and B, I was living in the toxic spiritual environment of soulless people. And the only thing that kept me alive were my two dogs. That they were part of my crew. I mean, every place I went, every corporate boardroom, every think tank, everything for those 10 years, I had two dogs on either side, and my basic little thing. Hey, you want me here? You gotta, let me do my thing. You gotta. I want this much money. I want to be in a five-star hotel. My dogs are always with me, and those hotels have to have room service. I need to have a suite, and that place, that hotel needs to have a place where it has a doggy spa. Meaning, I went to work and I could somewhat see it as a vacation. You know, I never ever, even though it was quite toxic to me, it was always very different, always very challenging, always very interesting. So I was never bored. I never, oh, I can't go. I hate work. I'm never going down. I can't stand those people. I can't do this. I can't do that. No, I've always worked for people who needed me more than I needed them. Today, not so much. So once I got my, it took me about 4 years to get out of death's door, you know, to, okay, maybe I'm ready to go back to work. I called all those folks up. Now, the universe didn't want me to do that anymore. So in those 3 or 4 years that I was, eking my way back from death's door, and going into severe poverty, the I called up one of my clients and said, "Hey, you got a project for me?" "Oh wow, we heard you were dead." I said, "No, that was like overinflamed. The stories of my death were poorly reported. So you got anything for me?" "Oh no, Al, we really love you, but we've replaced you with an app." I was, what? It was like mind-boggling. I thought no one could ever replace me. My whole life, my whole working career of all those years, those 50 or so years of working at this, that, and the other thing, I was always needed more than I needed them. I thought I'd never be replaced. But bingo, I was replaced by a freaking app. And then I looked at that app and it just did a tenth of what I could do. But that's all they wanted. All the rest of that stuff I did, they didn't want me to do. They just let me do it because I could. They wouldn't get that 1/10. So then somebody figured out the app of my 1/10. And the real story, gang, within the next 3 years, 50% of the working people on this planet are going to be replaced by friggin' boggling, right? The other thing, right now, our economy is going up like there are all of these things that should be dragging the economy, and about 2 months ago, our economy was doing this. Stock market was doing this, up, down, stay in the same place, but up, down, up, down. And what it showed, if you were a good observer, and that's why I kind of started to go doing things, saying, that's one of those long-term trends when the economy does this. Now the economy is totally frigging manipulated. There is, it's not like the weather, and now our weather is totally manipulated. Our total reality and what that is. And so this just the stock market. It's like, why does no one get too upset with DT, Donald Trump? And that's what I call him, DT or chump. DT is, I mean, he does, first of all, he is like a breath of fresh air because DT is no more racist, no more corrupt, no more, you know, you know, depraved than any of the rest of our legislators. They are all as depraved, corrupt, and evil as DT. And he's just shown it to us, like straight in our face. And the powers that shouldn't be and the hidden hand are doing this. Everything is manipulated. Nobody gets elected. And I mean, and all the people, the other night when I kind of spoke up last night, and I showed a little bit of Fox, and all you have to do, and that's why I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV. And, I may watch a DVD or so, but I don't watch anything off you know, the vids. Anyway, long story short, last night there was Miss Warren from Massachusetts, and she's from Oklahoma. God, and she was lying through her teeth. The story she was lying, and they had an audience that cheered her on, just like they cheer on Donnie DT, And then we got about 20 people running for president on the Democratic line. And why are they doing that? To They're not going to put up anybody. There is nobody. There's that Beddoes guy from California or Texas, and he's never done anything, right? And I read this thing they had about him in Vanity Fair, where he was describing how the day he announced he did it like in a Chipotle and got up on a table, and he goes, "It was amazing. I was saying things, and they were just coming out of my mouth." And he went on. I mean, you should go read that. You want that guy as your president? He is more disabled mentally than DT, and DT's got the DTs. And so, and he said, "Okay, I'm running." And then one day, he had $6 million in his piggy bank. No one gets that kind of money in one day. The first day that he announces his presidency, no one who isn't, in the pocket or controlled or, the hidden hand has got its hidden hand right up his butt. And there was another, Democrat, progressive, and she didn't even make sense. At least Warren was lying. This other chick was like, and she was crying and laughing and crying, trying, her emotion chip had gotten fried. It was like, and that was on, so and all three, CNN, MSNBC, and Fox all had some moron either running for president or talking about DT. And it was like, throw your TV out the window, shoot it with a gun. Yes, watch some. Get rid of the cable. Get rid of you know. And what I do, I do not watch more than an hour of the internet. And basically it's to prepare for the live chat. Meaning, you guys, I got a ton of stuff in my inbox, so I kind of thumb through that relatively quickly. I might stop here or there on something interesting, and I'll look at that. And I know everything I look at goes into my history, so I can go back and look at that. Anyway, so that's where we are, gang. We are on death's door. We have already jumped the cliff. The shit has hit the fan, yet we are keeping things stable by, in every day and every way, taking the piece of the earth and making it stronger. And we are 257 or something, you know, adepts in the gang here, in the cadre, and we are doing what the mighty 300 of the Greek city state of the Big S kept the Persian Empire of an army of 500,000 at bay, while the Greek other city states got their act together to go kick the butt of the Persians. And that's what we're doing. But we're not kicking anybody's butt. Our sword, our lance, our shield, our 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 love's co-creation. So that's what we're here to do. Okay. So, anyone got anything to say about that? Infinity, where do you live? I need an assistant. I need an editor. I need a assistant. Someone who's computer literate, who can, put up. I want to start I tried to start, Griot Press, and I've lost the, password. I mean, I'm a homeless guy. You know, I lose things all the time. Right now, I have after doing all these things to get the deep green ready, I spent, 300 of my $400. So I'll have a place to invite you. A real magical place. The school, it's but it's not like the deep green. So, so now I have all of about $12 until April, April 26th, I think. And, you know, being as, I have a negative, yeah, I used to have a great credit rating around 830. Now it's like negative 830. And I have a bunch of things that, what do they call it? Banking services that I got when I was, well to do. But now, and they're there because they're there. But if they go away, I'll never get a bank account that I can cash a check in. I'll never have a place that my Social Security check can be sent to, you know? And I'm like $15 away from losing that, because if you don't keep X amount in these things, they just see ya, bye bye. And, I got about $12 to last until April 26th. So, anybody want to send me some money? Hey, get your credit card. I don't have one of those. Get your credit card out and send me some money via Western Union to, ADMARTINO at Roanoke, Virginia, and then send the control number to my Gmail account, the dude awake 42 at Gmail, and or send me something in the mail, which, like Dragon sent me those beautiful pictures and some Canadian money, which I'm holding on to for, lucky charms. And, just beautiful stuff. And everyone has sent me beautiful stuff and cash and other things that, help me stay afloat, So, and I'm not having a Patreon, unless someone wants to come and help me set up Patreon accounts and GoFundMe this and I can't. I try, I can't even log in. Until Sophia walks through my door and honey, please come. Bring me a staff. I need a staff. You know, need a lawyer, need an editor, need a computer specialist. Need all up for it. Same with you guys, Hidden Hand. Because the only way you're going to frigging survive this coming apocalypse, which you want to bring on the planet and the solar system, is if love's co-creation says, "Hey, turn around." Meaning, Hidden Hand, you won't turn around. You won't look at the lies you're telling yourself. That's what we're here to do. To forgive, to love, to be empathetic. You're back. Okay. Makes me, Infinity, it makes me feel really good you're back. Okay. So, we're going to count down. We're going to walk out of the lodge. We're going to go into the commons room and over. And when you walk out to the right is the cafeteria. Go over there, get a little nosh. And then I'm going to count from 3 to 1 and snap my fingers, and everyone will be back. Are those little yellow things emojis? Is that what those are, Infinity? See, I can't even see those. I'm going to have to put on another 2 pair of glass. I see little round mushrooms, yellow ones. That's what I can see. Yeah, okay. So 3, you're in a deep state of relaxation. You're in your, we've left the long house of the hedgerow and we've walked out into the commons room. Now we can take the shortcut through our lodges, which are right off the common room. So everyone go through their shortcut into their commons, into their lodge, and then into your library. And then 2, you're in your library of your Akashic record. Walk over to your guides, give a bow of thanks, gratitude, and humility, and also to your lodge's guide. And now you are walking back into your imaginary mirror, and you're being filled with the photonic light of your prana and the grounding of your chi. And 1, I'm going to say 1, 2 more times, and then I'm going to snap my fingers. And there, you can look at my palm. And see all those little X's? That's the palm of a healer. See all these little X's here? Those, right? And how my life and my heart line are together. That's like shows that I think with my head, no, think with my heart, and feel with my head. So 1, you're back in your body. 1, you're back here now, totally awake. Hear those snapping fingers like a calypso. And here you are, back with me. Yeah, sunshine, happy hug faces. Okay, love that. Oh, you're in my shape. Twitch, you can see more than 10 pixels. Come on, you're a youngster. Well, there you go. So, Infinity, tell me. So, are you my mirror image, or tell me a little bit about you? How old are you? Where you living? What you do? What floats your boat? And if this is too public of an environment, you can always get a hold of me on. Okay, maybe if I. Oh, California. He was. So, were you in the fires? And I know I'm fine. Come on. I'm not worried. No, thank goodness. So are they stacking. I mean, my little take on what's going on in California is they want to depopulate it because after you know most people don't know that Richard Nixon started the EPA. Now, he didn't do it because he loved bunnies and flowers and no. What happened was we had so outstretched ourselves as a financial entity. Our country is a corporation. When you drive around town, you see these signs, welcome to Larryville Incorporated Village, and hi there, welcome to Moron State, the Incorporated State. In '08, I was in Florida, and my parents lived in this super duper gated community where most of these people were zillionaires and politicians. And over the years, you know, the being part of this gated community, they had a really nice clubhouse, right? And they had a great restaurant. And $400 a month went to food that you ate at that place. And my father couldn't, he only wanted to go there when they had X on the menu, and then he would stroll in looking like $1 million, and he could try to out groovy the other guys, right? But I would go there for lunch because my parents were paying for it, so I figured I'm gonna go there for lunch. I would go take a nice swim. I would go on the putting green and play like it was putt putt, and hit a few balls on the driving range. Mostly the balls I would hook it so severely it went into the area where people were actually playing golf, and they'd get pissed off at that. But hey, fuck them. I was a member, right? And they would be wearing like $100 outfits, and I would be wearing clothes that I got out of the free basket at the homeless shelter. That was my attire. You know, I like doing that. I like getting people's ire because it brings out who they really are. And then I see who they really are, and then I make them feel better. So I would go and have lunch there, and I'd take a big table, and I would strew it out with books, and read and write, and go use. They had an office in there with a computer. I would write away and go on the internet, do all kinds of things. And the staff at that place loved me. My parents had been there almost 20 years, and there was a rule that you weren't supposed to tip. Tipped everyone. All these millionaires would acted like Scrooge. I give everybody, a guy would come and fix the drain. I give him $10, you know. So I didn't have to do it, right? A lot cheaper to give that guy $10. He had all the right tools, everything, and he got under there. Right? When we would go out to dinner, I would leave $10 under my plate. When I go into they had a men's room there where they had the guy in there, shining your shoes. You weren't supposed to give him a tip. I'd go in there, use the urinal, give him $10. In those days, I had money. I was working for the desperate lawyer, worked in the corporate world. I was a scholar. I had a lot more money. And what I did with it was I gave it away to other people who needed it. At $10 increments. I mean, Mr. Grandpa Rockefeller used to give dimes away. Well, they were solid silver. But anyway, so when the Great Depression of '08 happened, I was there. And that's kind of when I was not, I was already getting sick. I was like, 500 pounds in weight, and my legs and knees and hips and everything was buckling, and the neuropathy was setting in, and the Charcot legs were already there. I just, ignored it, And so, but when that happened, my father he couldn't, I had to like pick him up one day, and it really, I think I tore a meniscus. And so I was hobbling around really severely. And anyway, so I was in this, 500 pounds. I told you, I was living in the swimming pool of chocolate mousse. I was eating like 20, I was hanging out with these desperate lawyers, and we'd have these lunches and dinners where I was consuming 20,000 calories a day. One day I kind of figured it out. Did you ever see the movie Meaning to Life by Monty Python's Circus? Right, and they show all the slovenly and all of that stuff. And they have the thing for gluttony, and they have this restaurant where the richest people world go and they eat themselves to death. Not that they have a heart attack or a coronary or a stroke, but they explode, right? And there was this guy named Mr. Creosote, and he just ate and ate and ate until he exploded. And then chunks of him flew through the dining hall and landed on people, and they just kept eating. And that part of his intestines that was still trying to chew on that piece of brisket. They like pull it out and start eating it themselves. And those Monty Python guys were. So that was me. I was Mr. Creosote, 500 friggin' pounds. Now I weigh 210, and that's why I'm alive. Right? That's why my legs kind of work. You know. Now, how did I lose that weight? Well, I nearly died. And luckily, the desperate lawyer really wanted me to finish the project, so I told him I needed this, this, and this, and he went off and got it for me. And I needed a colonic, I needed, a nutritionist, I needed a whole bunch of things. And he was nice enough to let me stay at his house in the Keys for a month, and where I kind of started to change my blood and everything else. And then when I came back to the school, I got snowed in there. And I got stuck up at the school for 6 weeks, where all I had to eat was oatmeal, and not a lot. I had a bag of oatmeal and a bag of onions, and that's all I ate for 6 weeks. Onions and oatmeal. And luckily, the power didn't get out, so I had water. I had somewhat of. So that's how, and that all changed my metabolism. And then I kind of, went on a good regiment, and I cut, so today I eat. So a good example is like last night, so I hadn't eaten the day before, and I stayed at my friend's hotel, and there's this pretty good Chinese restaurant that delivers. So I ordered $25 worth of Chinese food. I ate a tenth of it, and I brought the rest home with me. I will eat 1/10 of that every day because I have no money to go buy food at the groceries. And John, he went to the really expensive place, the co-op, with somebody who drove him there, and he bought all the food upstairs. I bring all the food, I share it with him, make him meals. Everything's upstairs, which is fine because I don't need to eat that food, right? And I have, a meal that will service my dietary calorie needs for the next, 5 to 10 days, depending on how I slice it. And that's how I lost all that weight. And when I was working at these churches, the one they didn't pay me; they just let me use their resources, so I could do a bunch of things in that town of Roanoke, right? And I spun it up and did a whole bunch of things, and basically, people, I wrote all these papers on, I went to these churches, I studied the people, I saw what needed to be changed, and I wrote white papers, and I, had those churches knock it out on their Xerox machines because I couldn't, and I gave them out to everybody, all the politicians, all the ministerial folk. I wanted to make the grandmother's council of all the, and the priests and the ministers and the rabbis got very, wait a minute, quoting people who are responsible in society's grandma. Anyway, so I got it all down. I got it all written. I got it all prepared. I got it strategized. Like I said, humanities artist trust scholarly work have the traveling video art circus as the vehicle to take the word across and bring it to colleges and college towns. And that will be every college has a student activity fund where they take $200 or $300 from each kid, and have lectures and bands and things of that nature, right? That run the rat scaler, right? And usually at the end of each semester, they got to spend every nickel they have, and and usually by the end of the semester, they're like spending it on the most worthless, stupid shit. Where if we can offer them a circus to come into their college, where we give classes in in all of these departments, we give lectures, we put on great entertainment, and we leave behind, like Johnny Appleseed, a thing called the Freely Inquiring Society. Now, in universities, they have sororities and fraternities and societies. And once they are implemented in that university, they stay there forever unless somebody does something stupid. Whereas things like, student activities or clubs last a semester. They got to be reborn every semester. Like the computer club or the quilt club or the chess club have to be reinvented every semester. And if there aren't enough people to have it, they don't have it that semester. Anyway, so that's just a little bit of my, and I've written books on all of this, and I have it backed up with studies that I had other people pay for or pay me to do. Meaning, when I was working, for at X, Y, or Z University or X, Y, or Z Institute, um, yes, I was doing their little research, but I was mostly doing mine. I was just doing it, piggybacking off what they wanted me to do. But what they had, their assets, their resources, gave me the access to things that I couldn't do. So I have a lot of experience in doing all of this, and I've started, I've created, I was there, when, you know, the no nukes, uh, you know, movement started. When, I was there in Boston on the Commons, with Sam Lovejoy when we had the first. A lot of people said we were the first Earth Day, but that was the first one on TV anyway. And I was there in the Stop Shorm campaign, and I was there on a lot of other campaigns. So I got a lot of experience. I'm there to serve. You know, and before my warranty runs out, I'd love to pass this on, right? To set it up, to leave something behind. You know, hey, I'll be glad to go. I'm ready. I'm ready right now. But last time I did this, when I landed face down in a plate of vermicelli, and then woke up in an operating room where they were about to crack my chest and cut my legs off. And I said, wait, what are you guys doing? When the mask was coming down, and I said, wait, what? And I said, well, we have to do a bypass, and you're this and you're that. And I said, no, not gonna, no. Well, your lawyer over there. I said, forget that. I did not sign it. And that lawyer over there, you know who he is. He will sue you to the point you will be in slavery if you touch me. Get me out of here. But I said, no. I said, no. If I can wake up, I'm, conscious enough to say no to this. Right? But they said, but you died. I said, well, I'm not dead now. Get me out of here. So they did. Anyway, so when I was there on the, I still had spaghetti sauce on my face when I saw my masters on the other side, and they were, hey, good, you're doing a great job, kid, keep it up. I said, what do you mean? I thought I was, that you were welcoming home. I could like take it easy. No, you got to go back. What? What? It's no, you haven't finished. You got to go back. Sorry, you got to go back. What? And they said, you better, you still got, this is only the sixth time. You got three more. Stop screwing around. So I am stopped screwing around. Anyway, what else do you guys have to say? Guys, I told you, I don't know how many times I've written the book. I've already written 26 books, novels, right? About 60 or so short stories and about 300 papers, treatises, things that got published. They took all of my sweat and intellect and put their name on it, you know. I know you are. But I just, every time it comes up, it's like when people, you need to lose some weight. I mean, they're weighing like 700 pounds and they're going, you need to lose some weight. And it's not a magic diet like my host says, I've got the secret to lose weight. Yes, eat protein, don't eat any carbohydrates. But everybody's different. Some people need to eat a little carbohydrates. The thing is not to OD on any one thing, right? And you want to lose weight, what you have to have is the intent, the intent, the heart to lose the weight. Now, when I was at those churches, like I said, they didn't pay me, but they did. I had some. Where's my microphone? Where'd my microphone go? I did have some perks. And one of them was they signed me up for the YMCA. And they did that basically because I started to smell, because I had no place to, being a homeless guy, had no place to shower. So they signed me up for that. And I would work out in the pool. Meaning I would walk and walk and walk in the pool. And then I'd swim. And I'd walk and walk and walk in the pool. And walking in the pool is because it's walking and you have a resistance, right? And that really strengthened my legs and kept them from getting chopped off. And that was all about intent. And that's everything. Oh, look at this. Okay, we're gonna jump off soon because we're gonna hit 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 22 seconds in a minute or two. So I think I've talked enough. I think I've given you plenty of food for thought. And two. Yeah, a lot of twos. Yeah, we're going for the twos. Yeah, soon. And so go back and watch these. I mean, I've been going back and look at each one of these shows is pretty amazing unto itself. Has a few of you said, yeah, but I like watching it. Live. I said it's just as alive in the memory there. I mean, that's because I pump these things up, energetically, shamanically. So when you're watching it, when you're watching the one I did, in May of last year, you'll still get the same juice as if the one I'm gonna do because there is no linear time. It's all the same juice, right? So it'd be great if more people could watch this. Maybe have your friends over and watch them together. I keep saying you guys need to start stuff in your own neighborhood. Your potluck dinners. Book club. Why not a Sensei Al Bob watching TV show club? Whoever has the best internet and the big screen, you can. And enough cushions, lie on the floor. Anyway, we're getting close to 22222, and but once I start watching it, it'll take an hour and a half to get the next 2 minutes. And that is why there is no linear time. It's an illusion. All of this is an illusion. The only thing that's real is love's co-creation. Now, as LOL, that means laugh out loud, right? And I love it when you guys are laughing out loud. That's because when you laugh out loud like that, it opens your heart chakra. And then it opens up your pineal gland, right? What happened to the magnifying glass? Well, I'm using it, but not on this. It's good reading the newspaper. Very good. So it's in my bag, and I'm using it reading the newspaper instead of putting it up like you want the view of my big face in the screen. Is that? So I'll try that next time. But I tried looking at at this, and it distorts it in a weird way on the screen. I mean, I can read you guys. These glasses are strong enough, or I'll put on another pair. Um, but using that, but it's great for reading the newspaper. I don't know. That's it. Doesn't work with the phone. I don't know why, but it doesn't seem to work. But the glasses I can read good enough. Oh. See, it's still like 2 minutes away. I don't understand this. So anyway, it's all doing great. Anyone who can get to North America this summer, come visit me at the good old Deep Green. Yep, it's happening somehow. Yep. And, remember, get a hold of me at the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. Go read the stuff I got up there on xratted.blogspot.com. And if you read that, you will, I'm not going to stick a ton of stuff up there if you guys can't even read 3/4 of one novel, and you got to read it. I mean, it's a mnemonic in the same way, in a different script, in Hebrew. I mean, you really want to know the Bible, forget King James. Go read it in Hebrew. Because the Old Testament is more like a postcard, whereas the New Testament is like a postcard, and the Old Testament is a owner's manual. So, so it looks like, hey, how about talk about the weather? It was a beautiful last 3 days, really gorgeous. Can't complain. Actually, from Friday, the last days have been really nice. And yesterday was gorgeous and beautiful, and so was today, and tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. So that's what I'm looking at. And so I'm just going to say goodbye. I've been waiting. It's still another. I thought it was 2 minutes. It's obviously going to be. What is this thing going backwards? I thought it was 2 minutes, and now it's 2 hours, 18 minutes. Well, I'll just continue to blather on. Good night, everyone. Okay, gang. I guess I will sign off before it's 2222. Let's just say it's 2222, and I'll see you tomorrow in the AM. Okay, Infinity. And if you want to get a hold of me and talk a little more privately, the Dude Awake 42. I'd love to hear from you guys. Yeah. And I seem to still have that thing that anywhere in the world people can talk to me on my internet. So anyway, okay, gang. I love you guys. It's 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 18 seconds. That's close enough for me.